BMW Z3. During the mid-1990s and the early 2000s, this was BMW's iconic manual rear-wheel drive roadster. And when this particular Z3 was new, it had a price tag from just over 90,000 Australian dollars. And now you can pick one up for under 20,000. And in this modern classic review, I'm going to tell you everything you need to know about it. And to do that, I'm going to talk about a brief overview about the Z3's story. I will then guide you through its model range, talk about the options that were available, then talk about the exterior, interior, its powertrain, and then I'm going to drive it. Let's start this video talking about a brief overview. So this generation Z3 made its official debut at the Detroit Auto Show, replacing the quirky BMW Z1 Roadster. And the Z3 ran production until 2002, when it was then replaced by the BMW Z4 Roadster, and all Z3s were built in South Carolina at the BMW Spartanburg factory, where they build their SUVs, like for example the BMW X5. In relation to the Z3's rivals, during the late 90s, it was in direct competition with the Mercedes SLK R170 and the Porsche Boxster 986 series. And on your screen now, I have gathered a list of variants that were available for Australia. So depending on which year model, you had a choice of different powertrains, like 4-cylinder and 6-cylinder variants. And the Z3 was also offered as a coupe version, as well as a motorsport edition, like the M Coupe and the M Roadster. And for options, there was a choice of different exterior colours, wheel designs, different seat design options, and a choice of either wood or aluminium trim inserts. And this particular Z3 is an LCI, which is the update series, and it's only travelled 88,000 kilometres. And I have sourced it from Unique Motor Garage. They specialise in classic European vehicles, and they are located in Petersham. I'll put a link down in the description below if you would like to get in touch with them. Let's now move on to the exterior design. So this particular example is finished in bright red Hellrot, and up the front you have large halogen headlights with the traditional BMW black casing. You've also got the traditional two kidney grills up the front, unique to BMWs, along with the sports bumper bar and halogen fog lights. And moving towards the side view of the Z3 Roadster, as you can see, like a 1960s Roadster, it features a very long bonnet, complemented by these air vents with the BMW logo. That is in fact a reference to the BMW 507 Roadster. You've also got teardrop wing mirrors on both sides. And lastly, this particular Z3 is sitting on multi-spoke 17-inch alloy wheels. And if we move towards the rear design of the Z3, as you can see, the rear taillights are halogen. However, this particular example, being the LCI update, it features the more pointier taillights compared to this image, which is a photo of a 1995 model year. And lastly, I would love to hear your opinion on the overall design of the Z3. It is over 20 years old, but I still think it looks fantastic, especially in this colour. However, share your thoughts, but for now, I'm going to move on to the interior. Let's now move on to the interior. So before you climb inside, you have a remote key, central locking, and the key goes into the ignition. And once you're inside the Z3, it is a very unique interior. So a lot of switchgear from a BMW E36 3 Series. This particular one has the aluminium look trim, even along the steering wheel. And being an update series, it features the more modern 3-spoke steering wheel, like what you would find on an E46 3 Series. Chrome rings surrounding the main dials, and ahead of the driver is an analog gauge cluster. And in terms of the driving position, first impressions, you do sit low down, half electric seats with half manual adjustment. The seats themselves are very unique material. They feel like they're waterproof, but they are leather seats. And in terms of build quality, the door slam feels quite solid. You have a leather stitch dash, and that all feels very nice. Everything feels quite solid, being based on an E36. So down in the center, electric window switches, a short throw 5-speed manual gearbox, and a manual handbrake. And the chrome piece here is your light switch. You flick it towards you to turn on the lights, and flick it forwards to turn the lights off. And lastly, practicality. So the glove box is a decent size. You have storage down on the center here with an ashtray, and on the doors, decent storage there with an ashtray. Other than that, it is pretty basic. Let's now move on to the boot. So the button is surrounded by this beautiful chrome piece, which is a nice detail in my opinion. And once you open it, unlike a Mercedes SLK with complicated roof mechanisms impairing the boot space, there is a decent amount of space. Not too bad considering this is a Roadster. There is a toolkit, no spare tyre, as this featured run flat tyres. And in this last scene, as you can see, the car has all of its factory literature, service history, the 2 remote keys. So it is a pretty impressive example. Let's now move on to the powertrain. So to access the engine bay, the lever is on the driver's side, and then pull on the tab next to the passenger side headlight, and then the bonnet opens. And this particular example is powered by the rare 2.2 litre naturally aspirated inline 6-cylinder engine, and it's paired to a 5-speed manual, sending all of its power to the rear wheels, producing 170 kilowatts. And on your screen now are some specifications. It is also worth mentioning the Z3 is based on the E36 BMW 3 Series. So mechanically they are fairly simple. With the specifications out of the way, let's now take it for a drive. So what is the Z3 like to drive? Well, first impressions, up ahead of you, you are looking over a long bonnet. The car itself has good visibility. I am sitting very low to the ground, and you sit far back towards the rear wheels like a traditional roadster from the 1960s. So the Z3 is unique from that perspective. And driving it around town, the clutch is nice and easy. Possibly the only flaw with it, it is a little bit low to the ground going over a driveway. It's nice and quiet with the roof up, and it makes a really nice exhaust note. It is a really fun car to drive. In terms of its performance, of course, comparing it with modern day Porsche 718 Spider, every car enthusiast will know that a modern car with a dual clutch gearbox is always going to be quicker. So how does the Z3 compare to its main rivals? We'll start with the Mercedes SLK. They are very reliable, just not exciting to drive, unless if you get the update series with a 320 engine, but overall really just an open top cruiser. Porsche boxes are a nice car as well, but might be a bit expensive to maintain if you are on a budget. You sit pretty much in the middle and the engine is mid-mounted like a proper sports car, whereas these Z3s, if you do buy one in good working order with a good service history, and if you find one with a good service history and low kilometers like this one, it shouldn't have any major issues. They can be very inexpensive to maintain if you keep on top of the servicing. So as a wrap up, what do I think overall about the BMW Z3? Well, this particular one I think is special, being equipped with the inline 6-cylinder and the manual transmission opposed to an automatic with a 4-cylinder engine. That means this example is very desirable, especially in LCI facelift form, and will remain one of the best BMWs ever built. So I hope you enjoyed the video. If you have any questions about the car, share your thoughts in the comments below. Hit like and subscribe, and hit that bell icon to receive notifications, and I'll see you in the next film.